5, 4, 3. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Laser Talk, live from Full Spectrum Laser here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Walker is very excited for our show today. It's going to be a good one. We got a bunch of little surprises for you guys. We've been doing some work over the last week restoring some things. And Walker, tell me about the first thing we're talking about with this restoration.
So I love restoring old antiques and resto-modding them and making them work again. And the laser cutter is a great addition to making things pretty again.
So when you say restore, like, what do you mean? You go to a garage sale and find something and it's a little beat up, or what do you mean?
Yeah. A lot of times you'll find, like, we're gonna show old cuckoo clock and they're just tore up. The cuckoo clocks are awesome because what they do, the noises they make, and how they look, but a lot of the times people have dropped them over the years, and especially the older ones. They're really cool pieces, but they're all broken up. And even if they're together, like if you show this piece.
Right, so like we had a cuckoo clock. Charles, if you want to put it up, the before picture. A lot of these pieces came off this cuckoo clock.
That's what they're supposed to look like.
That's a standard cuckoo clock.
Yeah,
that's where you'd see like in your grandma's house. It keeps it well dusted and pledged up.
Yeah, but this is what they look like afterwards.
So these pieces were on there. They were kind of broken. They weren't looking very good.
Yeah, and they were glued together many times.
Yeah, this could. Whoop.
Yeah, that's broken.
Yeah.
So the before shot, yeah.
Sorry.
It's good. It was broken so many times before. So we took those all off, and that's what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. There we go. So these are just panels that I laser cut.
The screen, we'll just show it here live, and then we'll go to those photos real quick.
These are just panels laser cut and put on top of there, and then the face plate was acrylic, and then I recut the hands. Now, if your cuckoo clock or any sort of antique clock is in really good condition, a lot of the times those hands will be missing. So you'll be doing a simple restore job by just putting on those hands. And that's a simple, easy thing to do with the laser that would take forever with a scroll saw or Dremel or something of that sort.
Absolutely. So when they made that originally, back in maybe Switzerland or something, it looks like, how would they have made a design like this back when they did not have lasers?
So they would do scroll saws, and every inside cut they would have to drill a hole and then run the bandsaw through using a bandsaw, and then trace a pattern and then redo that for every single hole.
So pretty time consuming. This cut in the cut took how long?
That would take 12 minutes.
12 minutes. So something that probably took 12 days down to 12
yeah,
minutes.
if you were just actually taking your time and cared about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you think a lot of these are delicate cuts. You couldn't just go through it quickly. You have to go very slow.
No, and there's actually great videos on YouTube showing the difference between scroll saw and laser cut, and it's far superior. Far superior.
So when you're doing restorations and you have things like that, what type of material are you using? Are you just sourcing normal wood, or like when you do this, where'd you get the material for the outside of this?
So that was just simply like, that's called a resto mod, right? I'm not turning it back to what it used to be, but kind of making it different and prettier in my perspective. So I would just source wood, good wood from like a Lowe's or Home Depot. But some guys are really stickler when it comes to restoring, like, oh, that's got to be, oak from the Midwest. That's where this project came from. So it depends on how stickler you're going to be, but it really doesn't matter.
What's nice too is on these restoration projects, you don't typically need a lot of material, so you can go and kind of expend a little bit and get the nicer material, because really it pays off in the end. Really, if you imagine, like, you buy this cuckoo clock for, how much did you get?
It was $10.
$10, and how much do you think you can sell that for now?
A lot. I actually took an old clock that I bought I got 2 clocks for $30, and I did it all up just like this one, and I sold it for $350.
$350, jeez.
Yeah, craziness.
That's craziness. So if you're out there and you think about different ways your laser can be used, go look for those old things that could use a little bit of a shine, a little bit of a pick-me-up.
Definitely.
And not only can you turn a profit on it, but I'll bet these make great gifts.
Definitely. And there's already a market for, old clocks and cuckoo clocks. So you already have your guys ready to buy.
Absolutely, and then you can theme these things by different things. So like a lot of people will take clocks and theme them either after like if they're going in like a NASCAR type area, we see a lot of clocks that are NASCAR themed and different sports themes or sports team themes, area specific. I've seen a lot of clocks that are like state pride specific, with like the state of Michigan in the background or laser cut in the glass, different things like that. So not only can you restore them, you kind of personalize them to kind of merge what you do with what people already want to buy.
Yeah, definitely, and you're already into that thing, and you know the people into that stuff already. So.
Absolutely, that's probably the best advice. I think what's in Warren Buffett's book even. Get into business with something you know. Like invest in what you know in, and that's probably the best advice for yourself as well. So as you're designing for your laser, like really go after those things that you know really well, your niche markets, those things that you're into, and try to bring a little bit of your skill set with the laser to that.
Yeah, definitely passion's going to help you everywhere you go.
Everywhere, absolutely. So what was the other, it was a gramophone, right?
Yeah, so I like old mechanical things. So also I did a phonograph or gramophone.
Right, so we had, you had this old broken piece on the front of the gramophone, right?
Yeah, that's the front grill. If we pull up the picture of the gramophone itself, that is the new grill. This one was terribly broken.
Obviously, just really bad shape, broken all over. So you can see it was like almost like kicked through, and then you cut this one, right?
Yeah, and I just copied it. There we go. And I just took the measurements of the old one and cut a new one.
So when you say measurements, you took the outside measurements of the square it was going in?
I took the outside measurements, I took the inside measurements, I took the measurements of all the panel, like everything. And this thing is actually more mathematically exact than the original.
That's probably because you were using lasers, like
Yeah.
computers, yeah.
Very true.
You got to figure, like with that, they definitely cut that by hand, right? Like,
yeah, they scroll saw that. That's I mean, that gramophone's from the 20s.
Jeez.
So this was Edison's second gramophone.
Did you get the gramophone working?
It was working, but I needed to tweak some things, and I just got a video of it playing the music.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, right up here.
Okay.
So there, I'm cranking it. You got to crank these old school ones, which I think is the coolest.
And that is, okay, so that comes over.
Then you lower the arm on.
So does this play LPs, like, like you didn't get the old, like, brittle records, right?
Yeah, and actually, Edison was a genius, and he made these proprietary for his diamond disc players. They actually have a diamond on the tip, and they lasted significantly longer. And he created, they're like thick.
Yeah.
And all proprietary. You couldn't use any other records from the time with his. You had to buy his records.
Edison, always doing the right thing for the people. I'll tell you.
Good businessman.
Jeez. Well, that's awesome, man. I'll tell you, just this panel in itself, if you think about how many different things you could do, which is this, you kind of took on a bigger project when you were a little bit younger, right? Something you kind of wish you had a laser for, right?
Yeah, so when I was about 22, I got back from Alaska and I purchased a 1947 Pontiac torpedo.
Oh, we got some pictures of that, don't we?
Yeah. So
look at this beauty. That's a big hunk of American metal right there.
Yes, and I wish I had a laser because there was all these small parts that I could not make on my own.
What you got, that 100 spokes?
Yeah, they were the only rollers I could find. This thing, I went on Craigslist, the guy was asking $2,000, and I went there with my brother and I said, will you take 600? And he looks at me and he goes, yes. So my brother
just wanted it out of the garage.
Yeah.
Probably more so coming from
his front yard. It was just sitting there. So my brother and I started taking this thing apart and we were going to restore it, like completely apart.
Yeah, it looks like you got it all the way down to the frame.
Yeah, the body's floating back there. We had it on 2x4s for a week. It was craziness. But I was 22 and I'm like, this is way too much work.
It sounds like a 22-year-old, something a 22-year-old would say. Yeah.
And it was in the middle of summer, so I'm, wrenching all these rusted bolts, and I'm just like, I'm done. I can't I'll do this when I'm 6 years old and have nothing else.
You have time and a bunch of money.
Yeah, exactly. It was really expensive, but there were a lot of parts that I wish I could laser cut.
So you, like the door panels, I think you have a picture of those, right?
Yeah. So the original door panel versus the old door panel. Now, I wish I had a laser cutter for this because I used the original. Those door panels are like MDF board. Mm-hmm. And over the years, you can see the water damage. The edges were mush. So really, I was working with mush, and I wish I could have laser cut one specifically to fit perfect.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, even personalizing inside of a restoration of a
So
car,
many.
so you have your panels, you have some of your different accents inside the car, and all those old cars always had, especially Cadillacs and Lincolns and different things that were made in Detroit, they had little wooden things up in the panel that were gorgeous, but a lot of times they'd be worn or broken off, whatever, and that's
Definitely.
an easy restore there, because they had manual clocks in a lot of those cars, right?
Yeah, they had the manual
That was
clocks.
a big deal to get a manual clock in your car. Like
That's
they had-
actually the one part I kept when I sold it. The guy doesn't know that.
Oh. Don't tell them.
But those actual pieces, when you get an old car in the desert, they're not so rusted, but all the plastics are just gone.
Right. All
So-
yellowed out. All from
Yeah,
the sun.
just
Yeah.
is crumbling.
Right.
So those gauges were actually made of plastic, and you know how awesome it would have been to cut out of acrylic, because they were plastic. Just, the miles per hour, actually cut the holes. I mean, I tried my best without a laser cutter back then. I didn't know what a laser cutter was.
And even on, if you think about the panels, you could etch on the acrylic maybe just the miles per hour,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then some pattern behind it, and then edge light it with LED. You
I
could
would've-
really have a slick.
I would have put the
display.
Pontiac, like the
Emblem?
Indian.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. They got the
just
Pontiac, and then you
everywhere.
also have that like star logo they had with the triangle. Pontiac had some good branding.
Yeah,
They
so
made some cool cars.
when I retire, I'm gonna get another one and cut everything.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be perfect.
Yeah, my uncle actually worked for GM and on the Pontiac lines for a while in Detroit.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was his baby. It was a big deal. Like, it's not so much anymore. I know Buicks are real big overseas still, but like to drive a Buick or to drive a Cadillac, like kind of meant, and not so much meant something like a status thing. Just like you were like representing,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the where you're coming from. You're like, it's
Yeah, they had the cool four. They had 3 holes on the side, which represented the 6-cylinder,
Yeah.
and then you had the 4 holes on the side, which that was like top of the
Right,
line,
right.
like eating up gas just across the country.
basically pouring gas out as you go.
yeah, money.
Just I mean, back then gas was like a quarter
Yeah.
a gallon, though, so it wasn't that big a deal.
And yeah, even relative to inflation, it wasn't bad.
No, absolutely. Gas was actually pretty reasonable all the way until like the late '90s.
Yeah,
and
up
then
until yesterday, I feel like.
it's like, what are these gas prices that are like GPA averages? Like,
Yeah.
that's not cool. I need a 3.98
Yeah.
Gas price. That's not cool.
rough.
All right, so we have a couple other things for this week. Looks like we had a couple questions coming in. Actually, I apologize. Jeanette, how you doing? Dennis, how's it going? Jim, good seeing you guys again. Good evening. Looks like we had a question coming in from Tracy in St. Louis. Can you explain DPI and how I would choose a high or low setting? It's actually a great question. A lot of people ask about DPI and why, when they set their photos, for example, to 1,000 DPI, why they don't look better than when they set them on 500.
Yeah, so those dots per inch, 500, like you said, is good for photo engraving, and really depends on what you're doing, right? So if you're doing a solid logo, I would say 250 is fine. Really depends on how deep you want it and how dark you want it. Did that answer the question?
A bit. If I could go a little bit, basically the 3 settings of 250, 500, and 1,000 DPI, to me they all kind of have specific purposes. The 250 setting is for your basic solid fill engravings, and then specific purposes like engraving on stone or acrylic if you're trying to do any sort of gradient. It's almost better to be at 250 than any other.
That's true. It's really application based.
Really, and then if you're trying to do photo engravings, really 500 DPI is the money spot as far as getting the best quality of photo. A lot of that has to do with spot size. If you're using a 1.5-inch lens, you'll see a big difference with 500 and 250 DPI. Now, when you go to 1,000, you're actually overlapping those lines of resolution with the spot size of the laser. So to me, that's for very intricate solid fill applications, or things you want to have a I feel like tumblers, especially if they're powder coated. I don't say poorly, but like a lot of companies, unless you get it from a good company with good powder coating, it's a really uneven powder coating on it. So it'll engrave a lot of it away, but it won't engrave all of it. Setting that setting to 1,000 DPI, you're literally doing twice as many passes in that area as you would at 500. So you get a lot of the paint and powder coat off that tumbler and other items, so you get a good clean finish. It works well too on like Romark products from Johnson Plastics, where you're taking away one layer of acrylic to another. Those type of applications, 1,000 DPI is really useful. Got another one coming in?
Somebody commented their name.
Yeah, Jeanette.
Oh, okay.
Jeanette, she's watching. She's saying
Oh,
hi.
what's up?
So Jeff's asking now, how do I know how many passes to do? Is it better to do multiple passes on a cut or to cut through the material on the first pass?
So really, it depends on application again. I like to get things done in one pass.
Right.
if you need to, a second pass. Sometimes if you're doing real intricate, like I would say acrylic, if it's really intricate, you don't want all that power hitting that and kind of melting and warping those little intricacies. So I like to do one pass and then another pass just to keep that heat from, building up in that area and warping it.
Absolutely. The density of your acrylic is going to affect this a bit, and the quality of your acrylic. Other materials, you'll see a little bit difference, but the second pass sometimes I use on multi-layered wood as well. So anything that has glue binding layers of wood together, because a lot of times the glue will congeal back into your kerf, and then it's not even really like you didn't go through. You'll see the laser went through, obviously.
Yeah, it just melted back in that groove.
And so you can usually punch that out, but like I don't like to risk breaking things or anything intricate.
Yeah.
So a quick second pass at 100 speed, 100 power, or 100 speed, like 50 power, you're usually more than fine.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Definitely, you do I would do something I know is going to cut. This is the power setting, it's going to cut. And then sometimes wood or even leathers have those little bitty guys still holding on that you don't want to push out if it's real intricate and delicate and break it. So I'll just run the same thing at 100 speed, real fast, lower power.
Yeah, the other thing to consider too is your material isn't always the same in the whole area. So like you could have different density in the leather and the wood from the center cut to the outside. So if you can imagine if your board has some center board in it and some outer board, like those different densities of the wood are going to make a difference. So you kind of got to know your material and know when you got to do a second pass. The trick I like to do is I put my finger on the cut and I pull up the board around it. And if the board doesn't pull up, I just leave it there so I can do a second pass real quick.
Exactly.
Because you want to keep it in the same spot. But put your finger on what you're cutting out, not the part that you're taking away, because that's the part you want to stay still.
Yeah, definitely. I know a guy, he just puts everything that he cuts on little blocks, so he knows when it cuts out because it falls all the way.
Yeah, smart. I think we had some pictures of some people using some metal spikes before with cutting acrylic, So they're like magnetic metal spikes that you can get on Amazon. I think you get them maybe a dozen for $5 or $10, but you can put those on the bottom of your machine and they'll stick up, and you can almost like a knife bed put your acrylic and stuff on top of that. So looks like we got one more question coming from California. I feel like it's because it's 4 o'clock still in California. We got some people still asking questions. I have my rotary connected to the Muse, but it isn't working. Is there something on the touchscreen I need to do? Not to worry, we're going to do a full rotary demo and talk on the Muse here. We'll probably release the standard footage later today or tomorrow, but we're going to do a full walkthrough on the rotary next Laser Talk. But from this question, just to jump off, to me, there's two things you got to check. You got to make sure the connection's good, which is not this, like, there's no real good snap in the connection. It's like, I don't say it's a loose connection, but because that's not a good, it's like, it doesn't, there's no like indication that when it's in, it's like snapped in or anything. It just like slides on like a
it's
sleeve.
not like a thunk.
Right, it's just like, and it's on there and it's good. It's just like there's no like snap or whatever. So check your connection first, and then you have to put it in rotary mode in 2 places, right?
Yeah, so you put it on rotary mode in the software and then on the touch panel.
Absolutely. So which takes 2 seconds, go on the touch panel, hit settings, and then go over to rotary attachment and just enable it. It's very simple to do. Looks like we got one more question coming in. Oh, right here in Nevada. Hey Walker, I want to see more stuff for pets. What can you do with a doghouse?
With a doghouse.
That's pretty cool. Aren't you building a doghouse right now by chance?
I actually am.
Why don't you tell the people about this doghouse you're about to make? It's pretty cool.
Okay, so I have a bloodhound. I was going to make him a country store doghouse. So little country store.
So he's sitting there in the front to the country store. You got 2 little.
Yeah, and he's
like
gonna have like
porch.
a little porch thing, and I'm gonna put little old alcohol bottles full of stuff, maybe like some
Like
snake
tonics
oil.
and all the things. Yeah.
And just Turner's, I don't know, Turner's country store, something like that.
That's
something
great.
corny but cool. And as he's sitting there with his face flopped over, the whole ground, it'll just be a nice setting.
That'd be great. And then if you, it looks like we got one coming in from Ralph. Is the new Retina Engrave ready for the Pro Series? Is there a feel for the upgrade cost? Ralph, the first thing I'll do is have you call your sales guy. If you have your name on the list for the upgrades, all that information is going to be pouring out real soon. We're doing a few things to make sure that the upgrade process for the Pro Series is just going to be the best for everyone as possible. The RE3 upgrade that's going to come out with that, I know we've been teasing this for a little bit, but within the next 2 weeks, you guys will have some solid information about Pro Series upgrades, dates, and prices. If you want to stay up to date, just make sure you send a quick email to your sales rep or sales@fslaser.com. If I could stop dropping my microphone box. Sales@fslaser.com, and they will hook you up with the I guess the pricing as soon as they come out. One more from from Alaska. Jeez, we're doing. Did you? Is this your friends?
Yeah,
your
this
friends
is my
calling in
buddy.
now? Okay, so Tom Walker's friend in Alaska is asking,
Tom?
when I use the rotary, my images are coming out stretched. What causes this? Do I need to design my projects differently for the rotary? No, but this is a somewhat common question.
Yeah, so stretching can happen multiple ways. So one way is that you haven't enabled your rotary like we talked about earlier, and it's going to engrave it as if it was just a flat plane like normal. So that's going to stretch it. Or you could have some slipping on your actual wheels, and that could stretch it. And
But wouldn't even just a pint glass, the way it's shaped, wouldn't that throw off the design a little bit?
yeah, you also want to focus it to the right area. Where was I going with that?
I'm not sure, Walker. You're
But
talking
yeah.
about this different.
But design-wise, you don't really have to do anything. All you do is enable that rotary and then rotate it 45 degrees.
90 degrees.
90 degrees. Why do I always say that? 90 degrees. And then it's going to be set for your cup.
So the reason why you have to rotate it 90 degrees, so if you can imagine your screen being your work area, your screen being your work area.
There you
we
go.
go. So you would normally start up in the top left, and then you'd work your way through, right? Well, on the rotary, you got to take that image and turn it this way because your rotary device is running along the parallel, and basically, and you can do this in Red Engrave 1 or 2, it doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
you just have to make sure that you're the way that your bottle is or your bottle or glass is in the machine on the rotary, it's facing the same direction as your graphic. Pretty common sense item there.
Yeah,
but a very common mistake as well.
Yeah, it's easy to put, especially in a Pro where you have a big space and the plug. Like you can want to set it this way and then wrap the plug that way, which means the rotary is going to be reading the opposite
way.
Yeah, so just set it up with the plug on the same side and then just rotate it 90 degrees.
90.
Yeah. Wow.
90 degrees. Weekly contest. Oh, we have an amazing weekly contest winner this week. Old Crow Customs makes these amazing guitars. This one they made out of a cigar box with some crazy laser engraves on the front. These guys do great work. Charles grabbed some video from their Instagram feed. Look at this stuff. I mean, just these guitars are gorgeous. That one with the rose on the pick guard, just gorgeous.
That's a cigar box?
Cigar box, yeah, it's incredible. So
That's a resto mod right there.
yeah, I mean, that's why, I thought it was perfect for this week's topic. So as you can see, they take old guitars and put new pick guards on them and different
Those are
things like
cool.
that. Yeah, I mean, so it can be really, you gotta imagine, these guys were probably passionate about guitars.
Yeah, I'm
And they
surprised you don't
loved
do
old
stuff
guitars.
like that.
Actually, I have done some guitar mod work. There's these laminates you can get that are wood, and you can cut the laminate wood out. It has like 3M sticky underneath, and you actually put it on guitar. So I've made actually a few designs for people's guitars that have like the name of their guitar on it, or like some people
Do
want,
people name their guitars?
yeah, of course.
Really?
Lucille is a famous guitar name. What's that?
B.B. King.
Yeah, B.B. King. Yeah.
Oh,
So like Lucille's barbecue or Lucille's and all that stuff. That's all coming from his guitars.
Baby girl?
Yeah.
Nice.
That was is either Gretsch or something. It was like a semi-hollow body with a tremolo. It's a gorgeous guitar. Yeah.
I wish I knew anything about that.
Well, pick guards are easy, right? They're just a thin piece of acrylic that's sitting on top of the face. And really, if you can imagine, you could take out the pick guard. You could just take it off the guitar, literally trace it on a piece of paper, and then either scan it, bring it into your design software, and then not only, because you don't necessarily have to cut out the pick guard perfectly, you just have to have that square that fits onto the pickups correctly, and then all the other, that's really, I don't say arbitrary, but like you can have a little
You
bit of
got
art.
some room to fit
Absolutely.
something cool.
Yeah, and then guitars are great too because on the neck there's opportunities, and on the head there's opportunities to do things. So you can see on the old Crow stuff, they put Crow on all their the heads of the guitars, so you can kind of see that they did the restore on them.
That's cool.
Yeah, so just another application there you can see. Make sure you check out their website if you want to see some of their guitars and get some inspiration from that. But another thing I think is great is even just being able to take laptops and do engravings on them, whether it's laptops, cell phones, what have you. Being able to put an engraving on someone's device is a huge thing. We did it at 2 years worth of Maker Fairs, and then someone else, and I don't want to say someone stole our idea. but then someone
They got inspired.
they got inspired, and we
Yeah.
love inspiring people with great ideas. It's probably our favorite thing to do. I'd
Yeah,
say.
it is the best.
So you can always do that, and then having that service up in your hometown or town locally, like you can put those things on Craigslist, offer up different things like that. Like for instance, like you could put this cuckoo clock up on offer up right now or eBay. And
Yeah.
what do you think? Honestly, like shoot me straight.
Honestly,
You do a lot of eBay, you know. These
yeah, I
things.
do know eBay. It really is a toss-up because some guys are really into exactly how it is with the clocks, but I guarantee I could sell that for more than $100 easy.
More than $100 for
Easy.
sure.
For sure. For sure.
That's amazing. So if you think about it, this took 12 minutes to cut this piece, which is the piece up top. Each piece probably took about the same. So we're talking maybe an hour's worth of cuts on the thing.
And now that I have that design, I can bust it out and get that same cuckoo clock for $10 all day and just keep doing it.
And really, you could probably just modify those for different size clocks too.
Yeah, super easy. And what's really cool about that is the internals are really what's expensive to fix, and you can actually laser cut the internals.
Looks like Lauren is asking on Facebook, are there ever situations when a 90-watt laser is too powerful to throttle down to do very fine work? For example, engraving on paper or thin material at 1,000 DPI.
1,000 DPI on paper, probably.
Probably not the best. I do all my paper engraving, like I do engraving for different like packaging at 250. There's no reason not to do it at 250 unless it's very, very intricate, which sometimes you don't get the best quality with it. But with paper specifically, 90 watt is a little difficult.
Yeah, I say cutting it's no problem.
No,
Actually, engraving it's no problem. But if you want to go all the way up to 1,000 DPI, probably a problem.
Probably a little bit of a problem, only because there's no adjusting the current on a raster job. So you're just adjusting just the power. So as you go down to 0.5, 1% power down there, you're really kind of getting beyond.
I mean, yeah, I would say 250 DPI at the old machines especially, but the new machines, 1 power is probably going to mark your paper.
Absolutely.
And then do that 3 times, it's probably going to burn through.
Yeah, I think on the 45 watt, I use 4 or 5 power. I don't remember offhand, but it's very, very low.
Yeah, and yeah, 1,000 DPI probably not, but doing paper on a Pro, I do it all the time, and that's no problem.
Absolutely. So we got some social media, we're good. Laser 101, as always, we have Laser 101 projects. You just put up the bow tie from last week.
Bow tie, and then this week, I forgot to grab it, we're going to have a little acrylic paper, like beta bowl.
Absolutely. Scott, would you mind grabbing that real quick before we get off the air?
Yeah.
It's just on his desk, yeah. Just take 2 seconds, and we can talk about, until he comes back with that, the sale we got coming up, right? We got a pretty cool sale on the Hobby Series, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So on the Hobby Series, 20 by 20 work area, sale for $2,500 right here. So if you're interested in getting a new Hobby Series and you're, maybe a little strapped for cash, maybe looking to stretch the banks a little bit, $2,500 to get a laser cutter, that's a great deal. You can't really get much better than that.
And if you don't need a camera, like the Muse, this is perfect.
This is perfect, absolutely. So $25 for the Hobby Series. Really can't beat that deal. Thank you so much, Scott. That's very sweet of you. Okay, look at this awesome thing Walker designed for this week's In the Cut. How fun is
So
this?
if you want a beta fish, but you don't want to take care of it.
Like feeding a fish is a lot of work.
Yeah. Especially cleaning a beta fish, you don't have the filter, so you have to constantly clean
change the bowl. Yeah, it's a big pain, yeah.
it. So why not cut one out of paper?
I think if you just buy a clam, when you buy the beta fish, the clam cleans the water.
Really?
Or an oyster.
Maybe one of those little sucker fish.
Sucker fish?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the beta would probably kill it. But either way, this is awesome. So you're going to do this with a couple different colors and show them how to layer and use acrylic, right? Because this is really just pressed paper in between 2 pieces of acrylic, right?
Yeah, just nice and delicate paper in between. And you could probably get the same look with just etching the acrylic, but it will take a long time.
A lot longer, right?
And it won't look as nice and pristine as that paper.
And the paper really, I mean, it's got a sharpness to the edge. It gives it a little bit of depth. It really does make a big difference.
And that was done with a Pro. And all those cuts.
And see, it's really intricate. And this was all done on the 120 watt Pro, right?
Yeah.
So this was on the big boy. So anyway, guys, Friday, 4 o'clock, check out Walker and Scott. They'll be here to make this sweet beta bowl container. So
Super sweet.
next time your kids are at the Wally World or PetSmart, you see the big wall of beta fish, you can say, I'll make you one when we get home.
No work.
So we got the sale taken care of. We got the 1 hour build. We got the usual graphics for those categories already plain. Any more questions coming from Facebook? In vector, how low can you adjust current on the 90? So really, anytime you go below about 10% current, you're getting in an ineffective range of the laser. You really need to have about 10% current or greater to have the laser tube have an effectiveness of any real magnitude.
Yeah.
It's kind of a finicky thing when you get down low current levels with cutting. Once you get down to, like, I usually stop at 10% and then start adjusting my power from there. But if you're at 1 power or 0.5% power and you're down current, like,
it's going to start piddling out.
Yeah, and you'll start noticing inconsistencies with the power output as well.
Yeah, so I rule of thumb, like you always, I say 12, but 10's a good one.
Yeah.
Just don't ever lower it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just will piddle out.
Anything more coming from the internets? Looks like we're good on the internets. Well, again, restorations, modifying, and what do we call it? An up store, restore, a mod store?
Upcycling.
Upcycling, there we go. That's
Yeah,
the word
so go Craigslist, find something that you know somebody would like. If it was just a little more polished up, maybe laser cut some stuff for it and make some money.
And really, at some point this summer, your mom's going to ask you to go garage sailing. It's going to happen. You're going to get asked to go to a garage sale, go out on a Saturday, go see what people are selling.
See, I've done that so much that I just love it now.
Yeah,
that's how bad it is.
Yeah, and really, if I'm driving home ever and I see people, I just pull over.
Yeah,
I don't even hesitate. Or I'll drive by real slow, see if there's anything.
And it's just baby stuff. You're just like, okay.
Nope, we're good. Yeah. You can always tell, like, when the kids have just grown up and they're having the garage sales. So you're just getting rid of all the baby stuff.
Yeah. Estate sales are better.
Oh, the best. If you see an estate sale, I'll always go check that out. I love estate sales and flea markets for this reason. Frames. You get the best old frames. You might not love the artwork that's on the inside of the frame, or whatever. Who cares? Get those awesome old frames because they clean up so easy, and then you can put amazing stuff on the inside.
Yeah, laser cut a beta fish, put it in there.
Boom. Or later cut like a world map or something.
Yeah. All intricate and crazy.
Very, very cool.
All the places you've been.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So like I said, you don't just need to go you don't need plain materials to start making stuff with the laser. You just need something to mark or something to upcycle. So think about that as you're going through Goodwill, St. Vinny's. What's the other one they have?
St. Vinny's, is that a back east thing?
Yeah, it's a East Coast thing.
Oh, okay.
St. Vincent de Paul it's called. It's kind of like a Salvation Army Goodwill type thing. Basically, I think the Catholic Church runs it or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically like Goodwill, same thing. So check out those things. I'm glad we could educate you on what a St. Vinny's is. Also, another great thing in the summertime, and I know we keep saying just one more thing, but there's lots of things out in nature that are really cool to engrave, whether it's a round like this from a log, which everyone's got someone who's got some firewood laying around. You can go take a couple. I believe they call these cookies. And it could be a stump, could be from logs out on thing. You can also take, we did some stone engraving, so you can do engraving.
Just throw some pebbles in there and make some wish skipping stones or something.
Absolutely. So there's tons of things in the summertime that you can laser engrave with. You got the 4th of July coming up just in a week now, right? It's next week. Actually, 1 week from today.
Just no fireworks.
Right, you don't want to. But let's say you're going to, to me, I could see designing a bottle rocket delivery system with the laser. Yeah. Or, a rack that you could put a bunch in with holes and you could light them all at once.
Yeah.
So that,
only where they're legal, though.
Right, because you don't want to shoot fireworks off in states where they're not allowed.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. We don't promote that here.
No.
We don't get down with that business. We're serious. We follow the laws. Okay. So until Friday, where Walker will be back and we'll be doing that really cool beta bowl one more time. If you want to make something neat, this is a great project for the kids too, because not only can you modify this, but they can color this. So they can color it. And actually what would kind of be neat is if you could take the paper and color a cool design on it before you cut it out.
Oh, that's a good idea.
May have to do that for Friday. So Friday we'll have that going on. Next week, I don't think we'll be doing Laser Talk because it will be the 4th of July, but we'll be back 2 weeks from today to do Laser Talk. Once again, we'll be talking rotaries and fiber lasers. So if you're interested in that, come back, tune in for that. Friday Walker with a 1 hour build, and as always, Laser 101 has all your material tests, your free projects, all that stuff. So check out laser101.fslaser.com. It's up in the top of the thing. You know what? I don't think we did all this show. I don't think we went to a video.
Oh.
I don't think we put it up to a video at all.
Oh, that's good.
So
this
should
is
we point
the
to a video?
Yeah.
There's going to be, a video we could go to? Jimmy DiResta actually has a really cool restore project where he took one of the panels and did some wood. I'll find that video. I'll put it up in the corner if you're watching on YouTube. Facebook, just go check out Jimmy DiResta's YouTube page. I would say it's about 2 months ago he did it, but check it out. He's been doing a bunch of great stuff on the Muse. Everything from his business cards to freebies for his clients and fans to engraving different things. He's looking into getting a compact fiber so he can do some metal cutting. Like, I'm telling you, this is
super cool.
Yeah,
Another level.
Yeah, when Jimmy DiResta gets a compact fiber in a shop, like what things, like he might take over. He might just take over the planet.
It
all
is
the things
over.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, make sure you check out Walker Friday. Us a couple weeks from now, and then until we see you next time.
Please keep making.